Hello, and thank you for attending this meeting to learn more about scheduling at ServicePoint. This meeting was put together as a result of numerous inquiries about a delivery scheduling module for CounterPoint. We've configured ServicePoint in such a way to allow for scheduling of deliveries, installations, and setup of items such as lawn and garden centers, delivering trees and shrubs, installation and planning services of landscaping. It works well for the green industry, stone and mulch deliveries, furniture deliveries for furniture stores, game system deliveries such as pool tables and large game systems, pool and spa dealers. It's perfect for them because you can sell a spa through point of sale, let's say, and then schedule the delivery and set up an installation services for that right from the point of sale screen. What I'm going to show you is some setup options in ServicePoint that allow us to allow a minimal set of ServicePoint functionality that just lends itself to delivery scheduling. It's a subset of the full ServicePoint functionality. And some companies will actually install the delivery portion along with full-fledged ServicePoint. For instance, they may still have a need to completely edit service work orders. So some companies that do delivery services, like the pool and spa industry, for instance, actually go out and they do full pool services, installation and construction services for in-ground pools. So they do use full ServicePoint to schedule work orders, send out techs and crews to do the work, use inventory items from CounterPoint and bill for these services. But in addition to that, they also do simple delivery services that are scheduled from the CounterPoint screen. We have made it possible to just use a subset of ServicePoint just for delivery services as well. So what I'm going to show here today is mainly this limited functionality of ServicePoint that allows scheduling directly from CounterPoint. And what we're looking at here right now is the schedule screen over in ServicePoint. There's a couple different views available. So what I'd like to do is kind of explain how this calendar works first. What we offer is several views of the current schedule. And what I have now is a limited view of my schedule based on certain parameters. So in this case, I'm just looking at my delivery trucks. For businesses that do deliveries and installation services and also repairs, there are several views available so that you can limit the schedule based on the user that's logged in. Maybe my repair dispatcher wants to see my service and repair guys. My delivery person, when they log in, they only want to see the delivery trucks. So that's what I've done here. I have this limited set of items that I'm looking at. The views that we have available by default, we have a monthly view, which gives us monthly calendars, you can see here. And as I click on each day, I do see the items that are scheduled for that day based on the subset that I've chosen, in this case, my delivery trucks. We also have a weekly view that's a gridded view. It shows what's scheduled for what day in a grid. So I have my trucks down the left-hand side here. I have my days across the top, Monday through Saturday. I've set this particular company up so that they don't do deliveries on Sundays. And if I click on the grid, it changes the day on the left-hand side, and it highlights the currently selected delivery task. So in this case, if I highlight this one, this is my delivery and plant trees at this address. And if I click on this grid, you can see that I'm going to deliver and plant trees at another address. I can deliver and set up lawn furniture, for instance. So these are all instances of service that I've scheduled for these particular trucks and or these particular crews or individuals. We do allow color coding of the schedule. So what you're looking at on the weekly grid and also on this daily grid, this is a daily view of my schedule with my trucks across the top and then all the things that are scheduled vertically underneath those items. And they're color coded based on the work order status. So what status this delivery is in. Has it been scheduled? Has it been put on the system and not scheduled for someone yet? Is it in process? Is it completed? And so on. It can also be color coded based on its priority and its work type. So the colors that show up on this grid show the dispatcher at a glance what's the status of this job and what type of a job is it. The fourth view on the schedule is a Gantt chart view, we call it. So it shows us the scheduled hours for a day for these items. And if I hover over these bars, it shows me what these work orders are so I can see where my delivery is taking place, the customer number, and the address. We do allow overlapping of delivery services, but you can set the system up to warn about them. So if I try and schedule overlapping services for the same item, I'll get a warning. It'll turn red on this particular view here, so you'll see that there's an overlap in place. We can also limit delivery scheduling by resource. So if we're doing it by truck or by crew, I can set up a calendar for each one of those items and say, these are the normal hours that I schedule deliveries for this particular crew or this particular truck. And if we try and schedule outside of those normal hours, we can either disallow it or we can allow it with a warning. So we'll pop up a warning that says, you're trying to schedule outside of the normal scheduled hours for this person or this truck. Are you sure you want to continue? The last tab that's on here, this allows me to see more detail about the work order that's been scheduled, whether it's been put in through ServicePoint or whether it comes in automatically from the CounterPoint side. It shows me the customer and the actual delivery address. It does show me the task. In this case, I'm delivering and I'm setting up furniture for this client, an outdoor patio set. And it allows me to map this address, so it can pull up Google Maps and I can see where it's located. I can enter or edit already entered notes against this delivery order, and I can print a work order form. That's a crystal report that is it's a document that can be freely laid out by the customer or anyone with a copy of crystal reports outside of the system. It's very flexible in how it gets laid out. So in this case, I've got my delivery ticket. It is barcoded, so we can scan it and bring up this delivery order easily. It shows me the customer, the service address where we're delivering this item to, and then some detail about it. Who's been scheduled, on what days, what times, and then the items that are being delivered and or set up for the customer. There's also room for a customer signature on this particular form. That's a quick rundown on the scheduling screen itself, just to show the components of it. And what I'd like to do is show how we can schedule an item from within CounterPoint from the touchscreen ticket entry window. We've set this particular copy of CounterPoint up in such a way so that it has a SQL trigger installed. We have quite a few of these available, but our basic one will allow you to sell an item through CounterPoint, add a delivery or setup line item, and then based on the addition of that delivery line, automatically create a work order over in ServicePoint. We've also set up some profile fields that allow us to say when we're going to schedule it, what day, what time, and who it's going to. So in this case, which truck we're going to put it on. Some sites don't allow the sales clerks to do this. For instance, everyone that's at a line that's selling trees at a nursery doesn't have the ability to put things on the schedule. So some sites will just send them over to ServicePoint unscheduled and then allow a dispatcher to kind of look through those items, put them on the most logical truck, on the most logical order on the correct day, and schedule them all at once. What I'm going to do here is show you how you can do it from CounterPoint all at once. So as I enter a ticket, I'm going to pick a customer, of course, from CounterPoint. And I'm going to go ahead and let's pick Margaret Alexander from our CounterPoint demo database. And I'm just going to start selling some items. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell a few plants. I'll sell another one of that same one. So we'll do a quantity of 2 on that one. And I'll sell another plant. Let's look and see if we have any trees in here. So I'm going to sell a Japanese maple as well. If a customer buys these items, whether it's a ticket or an order, you see we've defaulted to an order here. We could do it either way or for both types of documents if we wish. If a customer buys the items and walks out the door and takes these things with them because they have their own truck, it's just a normal sale. If I had a line that we've specified is either the line item type or the category or subcategory that should trigger a delivery work order, some special things happen. So I've set one up. It's simply called delivery. And in this case, I'm doing it based on item category. So anything that I set up in my item database in CounterPoint that has the category that I've specified will trigger a work order, whether it's delivery, setup, installation, whatever that might be. And in this case, I've allowed override of the price, so I'm just going to say it costs $25 to deliver. We've set up a few other things in CounterPoint for purposes of this demonstration. I've put a button on here that allows me direct access to the delivery schedule. So if I want my clerks to see it, I can allow them to click on this button. It'll bring up ServicePoint. It'll automatically go to the delivery schedule. And I can look through my week and through my month to see when I'm going to be available to do a delivery. We can filter the schedule based on zip code by zones that are definable by the business. by city name, by neighborhood. There's all kinds of things we can use to filter this to say, okay, when am I going to be in this area? And when I decide when and where I can do it, let's say I'm going to put it on my flatbed truck at 9 a.m. on Friday, I can go back to CounterPoint. I can enter my delivery info, which in this case is set up as profile codes at the ticket level. Some sites will set up profile codes at the line item level because they might deliver different things on different trucks at different times. So you can have multiple deliveries scheduled as well. And what I will do here is I'm just going to say I'm going to go on Friday. I'm going to pick my flatbed truck. I'm going to schedule this thing at 9 a.m. in this case. These are codes that I set up for these profile codes, and I'm going to say OK. I may also enter some notes. Let's say a note to the technician that says, I'm going to date and timestamp this and say, customer would like items left in driveway. That's a note to the delivery crew, and that will be transferred over as well. So when I create this work order based on this delivery line, it will automatically send that note as well, and then that prints out on the documents for the delivery crew. So there's my ticket. It's got my items on it. I can select payment if I'd like to, but since this is an order, I can just complete it. I'm going to complete this order. I can print out a document for the customer if I'd like to. And what that did, just by entering that, if I go out to my calendar now, I should be able to see on my daily view, there's my delivery item that I just scheduled. It's my flatbed truck delivery. I can look at the work order they created. It's from Margaret Alexander. It was auto-created from the point of sale ticket. If I further go in and edit that work order, I can see that it created a task. It put some part lines on it. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print it from here. And I'm going to show this delivery document that was created. So here's a delivery ticket. It was created for Margaret Alexander automatically. It has the contact information on it from the CounterPoint customer setup file. The customer would like items left in driveway, came over as a note. It's a delivery task. It's assigned to a flatbed truck on 5/6/2016 at 9 a.m. And here's a list of the items. This is obviously configurable by the user as to whether or not they would like the prices on this document. It is a crystal report, so it can be configured however the customer wants to see it. But this came over automatically just as a result of us having that trigger set up. It is really very configurable in how we bring it over. We can pre-schedule items, or we can bring them over unscheduled. We can schedule by individual line or by the entire order. There's very much flexibility that we can build into this. And what that did, by the way, now you can see the week has more things on it. My flatbed truck has 2 items, and it's color-coded based on the type of delivery and the status of the delivery. This has actually been scheduled for a flatbed truck. My daily view also shows these extra items that we put on there. And you can see it was auto-created, and it has the address right here. One item that I would like to mention about the service tickets is that these documents can be set up to print in forms groups from ServicePoint. We do have a setup item available that allows us to specify names of the forms, 1 or more forms, and what their destinations are. So what this allows is when a service item is scheduled, when we put in a ticket in CounterPoint that requires delivery, we can automatically kick out 1 or more forms. And what this will do is it can route a specific form to a specific printer, for example. So this delivery ticket could come out back in the delivery area or back in the warehouse so that the crews can then pull the items, put them on trucks, and prepare them for delivery. It can email things automatically, so it might email a crew to let them know, send them a message that says they have this delivery that they need to work on. They can also email the customer directly and say, okay, we have scheduled this item for delivery on a certain day at a certain time. Here are the people, or the person or the people that are going to come out and do the delivery for you. That can be laid out however the customer wants. And multiple forms can be sent to multiple destinations at the same time. So at the time this thing is scheduled, they can send all these things out to all these different places and notify everyone so that everybody is on the same page and knows what's going on. There is a mobile aspect as well. So in addition to having the ability to put these things on the schedule, the technicians while they're out in the field and the delivery people while they're out in the field can access their schedule and their items remotely, making this a paperless system. They can clock in and clock out, which actually updates the schedule in real time. So you can see where the delivery people have arrived somewhere, where they've completed their delivery, and they're moving on to the next site. It does give the ability to capture customer signature in the field and also email receipts while the delivery person is on site. I'm going to show you that, but I do want to talk about what happens when these things are completed. If I look at my weekly view here, all these things are color coded. This particular job is done. That means the tech they've signed in, they've signed out, they've completed this work order, and because of that, it's in a status that allows me to send it back to point of sale if I want to. What normally happens in companies that schedule through ServicePoint is they'll send these things over to ServicePoint. A delivery crew does what they need to do. They deliver the items, they plant trees, they set up a hot tub or a spa, they set up a pool table, they make sure that everything's okay. And when they're done, they indicate that the job is complete. And at that point, I can send it back over to point of sale if I choose. And that's normally done if there is the possibility of additional charges. So if someone schedules a delivery, someone shows up on site, it turns out that they have to take an item up or down a flight of stairs, or there's some difficulty and there has to be more charged, they will notify the customer, add an additional charge to the service work order, and then when it gets sent back to point of sale, it gets tacked onto that existing order, and it becomes a balance due. Some other sites, if there are no charges due, by the way, from here I can send it directly to history as well. So as soon as the delivery is done, I can send it to history over in ServicePoint. We know who did the job, whether they added any additional notes as to what they did while they were out on site, and then it becomes a permanent part of that customer's history. I would like to show the mobile piece now that also ties in with it. And what I'd like to do then is bring up my browser screen and show the mobile piece. This screen shows our mobile app running in my my Chrome browser. It is browser based, so it runs on any platform. It runs on an Apple device. It runs on Android. It runs in Windows. Anything that has a browser can run this, and it does have an actual real-time connection to the database. If I'm trying to log on to here and see the things that I have scheduled for myself for the day, I'm going to log in as large truck. It logs me in. It knows I'm delivery truck 2. This is my setup from ServicePoint. And when I log in on my mobile device, on my phone or on my tablet, I see the things that have been assigned to me for the day. And in this case, I have 2 items assigned. I have Bill Baker on Millstream Parkway. I have Fred Brown on Fox Circle. And if I click on details, it shows me the task. So in this case, this is my deliver and set up furniture task from my schedule over on the ServicePoint side. It accesses the exact same data and it updates it in real time. So if I wanted to map my way to this address, I can click on this map tab. In my mobile device, it'll open up my Maps app. It'll allow me to then navigate to the site, give me turn-by-turn directions. And when I get there, I can go to the labor tab and I can clock in and clock out. So if you choose to use this additional module, this mobile application, it allows the crew to go on site, clock in, it puts in the current date and time, and it changes that item on the schedule calendar in ServicePoint to show that it's actually in process. In addition, the technician can update the parts if necessary, so they can add things like installation kits or ancillary install items out of CounterPoint's inventory, which then get committed and can get billed separately or additionally onto that service work if you give the tech the ability to add parts. Notes can be entered, so as the tech's out in the field, they can add a new note. Most mobile devices do have the ability to turn speech into text. So they can click the microphone on the keyboard and type in what they did. So, I'll say this is a tech note from the field. And then that can either become a work order form note for that delivery order or an invoice note that the customer actually sees, or neither. It can just be an internal note that says something about what the tech did while they were out in the field. The delivery crew or technician can also get to the summary page, which gives us a summary of charges. So in this case, we do have an additional amount that was due. It's $25. And they can collect a customer signature while they're out in the field. This allows the customer to sign on the mobile device on the touch screen. You can capture the name of the customer. And if I accept that signature, we store that graphic away along with the customer name and a date and time stamp as to when they signed it. And the tech also has the ability to email a ticket while out in the field. The ticket that gets emailed from the mobile app, it initially pulls up the email address from the customer file in CounterPoint. So this guy, Bill Baker, I put in my email address as his email address, can be overridden. And when the email gets sent, it sends an HTML formatted email that is configurable by the customer. So it can basically say nearly anything. It can be laid out like an invoice. It can be laid out like a thank you note that says, thank you for allowing us to provide service for you. Or it can literally be a receipt form that gets sent out. It is configurable and formatted based on the HTML file that the customer and or the partner sets up for them. So when the technician is done, they go back to their work order list. They pop up the next one on the detail list, they map it, and they go on their way, and they do their secondary delivery. Meanwhile, back in the office, the schedule is continually being updated by any parts added, by the tech's time clocking in and out of these delivery orders, by the notes that they're putting on it, and the status of the work order is changing on the schedule, so ultimately it can be closed out and billed if necessary. That's a quick rundown of the delivery functionality and how it works within ServicePoint as to the interface between ServicePoint and CounterPoint's point of sale. If you do have any questions, by all means, please contact us. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to do further demos if you want to see more information. We would love to answer any questions that you have or talk to you about any additional functionality that you have questions about. Here's our contact information. Our toll-free number is 866-879-3867. Drop us an email at info@rtmcs.com or send me an email personally at bobf@rtmcs.com. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, and we hope to hear from you soon.